Hi, I'm Corin from SW Motorsports, and today I'm going to help you decide which cage you need for your track car. If you are someone who does a few track days a year and does a bit of fast road driving, then usually a half cage is for you. This is suited so that there's a little bit more stiffness given to the back of the car, and you do have an increased level of rollover protection if the worst were to happen. All of our half cages are made out of the same materials that we make our full bolt-ins and full welding cages out of. Obviously this adds a higher level of protection than having nothing in the car. All of the half cages are made out of 45 by 2.5 CDS. Some of them have a bit of 38 by 2.5 CDS in there. And these are minimum material requirements set out by the MSUK and FIA. Obviously this allows full access to the front of the car as there's no front section to the cage. It allows you to mount the harnesses in a structural way instead of sort of bolting them down to seat mounting points or sort of a flimsy harness bar or strut brace or something like that. So if you're doing track days, if you're doing sort of fast road stuff, this is the cage for you. Next we have full bolting cages. Now these is where we start to get into sort of the MSUK FIA level of cage. These are obviously also made out of fully compliant materials, 45 by 2.5 CDS. There are T45 options as well available. All of our full bolting cages come with additionals such as A-pillar supports, double door bars, door bar gussets and a rear cross. To make it compliant, it means that you won't be able to run any trim inside the car. Obviously if you're going as far as fitting a full cage, that probably won't affect you at all. They usually pass through the dash in front of the dash bar or slightly into the dash bar if there's any cosmetic bits that need trimming off. Obviously full bolting cages add a higher level of protection to you than a half cage would, as you've got frontal impact protection and side impact protection there as well. These cages are made so that there's minimal fabrication, minimal welding needed. The only part that needs welding into the car are the boxes that are supplied with the cage. So usually you'll bolt the full cage into the car with the welding foot plates, tack them in place, take the cage out, weld them up. Takes a few hours to fit. Not a big deal. Finally, we have the full welding cage. This is obviously the ultimate in rollover protection and chassis stiffness. You've got full nodal triangulation, which you can't achieve sometimes with a bolting cage due to the way that the cage mounts together. So every single point is triangulated through each other. What this means is that all of the loads that are passing up through the chassis are triangulated through the cage. This reduces compliance, so any adjustments and setup that you've done through your suspension, the car's stiffer. All of those adjustments and setups and settings that you've made will stay more accurate. With a full welding cage, everything's braced to the maximum degree that it can be. As with a bolting cage, a full welding cage doesn't allow for any trim to be fitted into the car apart from the dashboard. This means that along all of the bars, anywhere that it touches, we're able to then stitch the cage into the chassis. This means that the cage is working alongside the chassis, further increasing the stiffness. With a welding cage, you're able to go through to the turrets. So this ties the front suspension to the back suspension. Every single load that's transmitted is then absorbed through the whole cage.